Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny and here we talk travel, health and mindset. Let me check. Everything is running, the microphone is running. So today I just want to jump into more or less of a spontaneous rant about whether or not the Philippines are safe. So as some of you may or may not know, right now I'm doing kind of like a travel guide series where I want to touch on the favorite places of the past 10 months of traveling the world. Just give some insights on the places that I recommend traveling to, also just on experiences, life lessons, and also very practical knowledge on how to travel. And what I usually don't address in my videos that often is let's say safety precautions and things like that, because how I see my videos, they are more with the purpose of just motivating and inspiring to travel the world, to get out there, to see more, to get out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself, because I think in a result of that you can become, you can reap so many benefits in terms of personal growth, become more confident, understand the world better, understand people better. And the reason I'm mentioning this right now is I'm gonna get back to it at the end of the conversation of whether or not the Philippines are safe, or let's say just my experience of how safe they were, because I want to get it straight out of the way. I had an amazing time in the Philippines. Everyone who has been following the travel vlogs, I think I have like over 20 out, and already one or two of the guides that you can definitely check out. And very often you can get the idea like, whoa, everything is absolutely beautiful, this place is perfect and amazing. And also with some of the videos addressing the question of whether or not it's safe, it's just that mentioning the people are very nice and very helpful and friendly, which I agree 100% with. We're just gonna get into that in just a second. But there are definitely some challenges which I think are worth to be addressed, and I think also the Filipino people itself are addressing them. So if you are planning on traveling to the Philippines, or if you just want to know my opinion, that's what I want to share with you today, but also on a larger scale overall on how I think you should deal with all those things. So just to give you an idea, before we have been traveling to the Philippines, like the idea of it before, we didn't know really how it's gonna be. And when like we have been mentioning to some people that we're going to the Philippines next, they have been telling to us like, oh, I've heard that it's not that safe there, like some governments are issuing warnings about certain regions. And I would definitely say, so they have over 7,000 islands in the Philippines, so why would you choose to go to those regions that are not considered to be completely safe? And just my personal experience from before going to the Philippines, I had definitely some respect for how it's gonna be. I was just thinking like, hey, it might be a situation that might get me out of my comfort zone, and in some ways it definitely did. But what I can definitely say to you is that, you know, after a few days that we arrived in the Philippines, I just noticed, I completely forgot about all the thoughts about safety and whether or not I feel comfortable, because I was feeling pretty much 100% comfortable. I think the first island that we have been to was Bohol, and the only time that I was thinking again about the topic of safety was like 2 weeks, or already like 2.5 weeks into our Philippines trip on the Siquijor Island. We have been sitting down in a restaurant and chatting up an American couple, and they were basically saying the same things, that when they told to their friends or like their mom or whatever that they're going to the Philippines, people were asking like, whoa, is it safe to go there? And they were just saying the same things, like there haven't been a single accident where we have been like overthinking and thinking like, whoa, this is a safe situation. But let me explain to you why I feel a lot of people are feeling very comfortable in the Philippines and enjoy it a lot. I would say it definitely comes down to the fact, and you maybe have heard that before, Filipino people are considered to be extremely world open and friendly, and they are very foreigner welcoming and very hospitable. And what I mean by that is just that a very big factor is the people. Really, most people are speaking English. They learn it in school from a young age. But still, I would say the biggest factor why I personally was feeling very safe and comfortable in the Philippines is that I really didn't feel like that any of the really, I would say 99% out of the people that we met had the intention of harm us in any way. You have to consider challenges and maybe some form of downsides to it, it's still a developing country. It's an uprising economy, also the tourism is growing, and this is also a factor that the Philippines are not as touristy as, for example, their Southeast Asian neighbor Thailand. You know, when we have been staying in Thailand, there have been cities where there have been in some parts a lot more Westerners, and for me that has been absolutely crazy, and that is usually in most places in the Philippines not the case, and which is obviously completely natural that some people, like the 1%, sometimes try to take advantage of the tourists to make more money of it. Like a very commonly known scam, you could call it, is like the taxi scam, where people want to have a lot more money than it actually cost, and we actually very easily avoided that by using Grab, where the price is already fixed. And what you have to keep in mind though is that in a lot of places, they, as a tourist, they will want to overcharge you, and there you just have to toughen up in a way. And I would say here the perfect example is my girlfriend Judy. She doesn't know that I'm gonna mention her now, but I feel like she is a person that genuinely wants other people around her to feel comfortable and at ease, and she doesn't want people to feel bad about how, you know, about her actions. And while I think that is a great thing, a lot of people then tend to just be taken advantage of. They're just being way too nice and they don't know how to hold their ground. And coming back to the beginning of the video where I said that traveling, especially if you do it right and if you face up those challenges that might come up, the challenges as I mentioned before, that you just stand your ground. You're just being polite about it, you negotiate, and you just show the people that you are not someone who lets to be taken advantage of. And this is why I think I personally, in any destination that we have been to, never really felt scammed. I think one time, and people who are watching my channel, they know it's actually quite recently, but in some way it was my fault as well. I confused the currencies, and that's a funny story. People want to have like twice or 3 times the money from you, or just you look it up on the internet, the more or less kind of like average price, and then you tell the people like, hey, no, that's not the price. I can pay you this or that, and I can very welcome to give you maybe a tip on top of it if it's a taxi or something. And people notice just from your vibe if you are someone who they're gonna like overcharge completely or not. And overall, in all of our travels, we usually got pretty good deals, especially towards the end of it. And Judy really toughened up in a way that, you know, she negotiates with the people at the markets for services, or like one of our main slogans was just like, no, that's too much. I'm sorry, that's too much for us, when, you know, people were asking like 2 or 3 times the regular price. And I would say for everyone who is watching this right now and playing with the idea to travel to the Philippines, or just my personal opinion, is that one of the very big beauties about traveling is that sometimes you are faced with challenges like that, especially in rising economies where you know, a lot of people don't have that much money, and you just see it as a challenge and see it as part of the experience. Because a lot of people my age, or actually any age, you know, for them is like very like, is like everything in place in this country. If I'm gonna go there, like, is anything gonna get me out of my comfort zone? They go with like organizations that if you miss a flight or a train, or if your accommodation doesn't smell nice, they can call in and be like, oh yeah, I have a problem, please help me out, and everything is getting taken care of. And I get it, especially for like the first time traveling. People can be very, you know, afraid to going to a new place. But I would say in the Philippines, really, especially on the islands, we have been feeling completely safe. And every tourist that we talked to, we didn't like address this topic too often, because it wasn't really like a topic that was in the room, because you were never thinking about safety. Because, you know, seriously, like 9 out of 10 people are greeting you with a smile and open arms, and that's something very special about the Philippines, definitely. And I agree with that 100%. But you have to keep in mind that it is still a place where a lot of people are trying to make money out of like tourists that don't know their deal. And I personally would definitely avoid the places where official institution says that it's not travel to go there. But, you know, if you're gonna avoid 3 to 4 places out of a country that has 7,000 different islands, you know, you should be fine, and you should, like, all of the areas that I'm considering traveling to are considered to be absolutely all right. And I would say also in the bigger cities, it was we had a little bit more of like the taxi like questions and the negotiating questions. Just like on the islands, you rent out your scooter and you just do it all by yourself. Some places in the Philippines, actually, they have been like a lot of young tourists. You know, I've seen groups of girls of like 2, 3, 4 people, sometimes bigger, of course, actually. But what I'm just saying is that, like, they're not afraid of anything. I'm just coming down to the point that I would definitely recommend traveling in a group, because things like, you know, when you go out into the nightlife, it's a lot safer to be with someone. Things like, you know, getting like some funny powders into your drink and then, you know, knocking off, never happened to me, luckily never to any friends or anything, but things like that happen. They happen everywhere, and you have to be cautious. So I would recommend traveling with someone, especially if you are unsure, maybe a little bit afraid of it. But I know also a lot of solo travelers who are traveling in that region are doing absolutely fine. So my conclusion to this day is that dozens and dozens of travelers that I met and the few that I chatted up about the question of how they felt about the Philippines, they said that they feel completely safe. This is also the experience that I made. The few challenges that come up, those are the beauty of traveling. Those are the opportunities to grow and rise up. And this is this is what, in my opinion, traveling is all about. So with that, my voice is already, you know, getting a little bit hurt. It's like a second video that I'm filming today. I hoped you enjoyed today my little insight into my experience. And as mentioned, right now I'm filming the travel guide series. I'm gonna have a few more videos about the Philippines up. Then I'm gonna be covering places like Hong Kong and Thailand. And besides of that, obviously, this channel is not only about travel, so a few cool vlogs from just my daily life, my home city. Thank you very much for all the comments under the last Germany video. The people are loved it and they want to see more of the city, and trust me, you are gonna get more of that for sure. And with that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you want to stay up to date on what I'm doing. You're welcome to add me on Instagram at Danny Mlistic. And with that, I see you very soon.